Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining Chit Chat with Char this morning. Today, I have the pleasure of talking to my friend, Miss Sally Morales. Sally Morales is a realtor here in the DFW area. She has been known as a D Magazine top producer. She also has been recognized over several magazines within real producers. And she has a moving company, and this girl is on fire. She has tons of things going on, and I have the pleasure of speaking with her on today. So without further ado, Miss Sally, come on and join us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, beautiful.
How are you?
I am doing excellent. I'm so glad that we get to spend a little time together. We've been, needing to connect and have lunch. There's so much going on. This time of year is crazy.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, and we're going to kind of move through this, very easy, but just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'll give you the introduction that I gave real producers when they featured me in their magazine. My first year in real estate. So I was a single mom. I was working 3 jobs. Got licensed in February. Working 3 jobs, and totaled my vehicle in March. The next month, I was on my way to an open house. Had a concussion, but broke my collarbone. I broke 4 ribs, slipped 3 discs in my back. And I had to, luckily my kids were okay, but had to keep going. The next month, actually Mother's Day, I broke up with the guy that I was dating for 4 years on and off, toxic relationship. And I had to make a decision of, what am I doing? Is this going to work or
Mm-hmm.
not? And I was like, you know what? It's not going to work if I stay in this relationship. So call that off. That August, my sister had her double mastectomy. She's been battling breast cancer. So I was a caregiver while, getting licensed while my first year, while all this is happening. And thank God she came out of that 10-hour surgery, 10 to 12-hour surgery. And we were like, oh, finally, this is behind us. The next month, my mother's diagnosed with breast cancer. Um,
Wow.
so when people try to tell me, oh, I don't know, I can't do it, I'm like, no. You have no idea
Mhm.
what you can do,
That's
you know.
right. That's
So
right.
so yeah, that was my
And that
first real estate.
that is a lot. But I think that when we go through challenges, that's where we know if we can do it. Because if we're never faced with any challenges, we don't know if we can do it or not
That's
because
right.
we haven't been faced with the challenges. So kudos. So you're now 5 years into real estate?
Yeah, February will be 5 years.
Look
I
at you.
started on a team, and I moved
Mm-hmm.
really fast. I have a severe case of ADHD, and I'm like, oh, let's do this. Oh, let's go here. So yeah, but it'll be 5 years in February. I went on my own about a year and a half after. I just had a different vision.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and still great friends with Brandy Wilkins, my leader, who taught me everything I could learn, and I admire her so much. And then I started my own team. I started it on a whim. I didn't do any homework on what it takes to start a team. So it was definitely a learning curve. Uh,
Right.
and here we are now. So now I structured certain things, and
Mm-hmm.
and moving right along. So now we've added a few more items to the plate, but I think things are a little more organized than they were even 6 months ago.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It takes time. One thing about getting into real estate, I think when you come from being an employee of a company or, you're working for someone, it takes time and transition and education to know how to transition into that because now you have this employee mindset and now this is your business. And I think a lot of realtors don't have the opportunity to transition into being a business owner. Now this is your own business. Now there are some things that you're going to have to consider, throughout your whole process. And I don't think a lot of agents even know to do that. And so I think when you talk about that percentage of realtors who get into the business, and what is it, 87% are not in the business after 5 years. That's a huge
Like
percentage.
2 years.
In 2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's a huge percentage. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact of just not having that proper education. And I think we do a real good job as realtors of glamorizing it. We
Yeah.
take these
Oh, for
beautiful
sure.
pictures, beautiful pictures of homes, beautiful pictures of our clients, that they're moving in, but we don't talk about the heart and the realness of being a real estate agent. It is taxing. You wear many, many different hats within a transaction. You cry, you pray, you laugh, you cry again, you quit. I mean, there's so many emotions that go along with it, but we glamorize it. And when we do that, I think people looking from the outside looking in feel like, oh, I want to be a real estate agent. But it's like, do you really know what it takes?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a lot.
I've had a lot of agents, well, actually, a lot of friends that are looking to get licensed reach out. Hey, can I
Hmm.
pick your brain? Hey, and I would sit down with them for lunch, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be an open book. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, what you're going to expect in real estate. And I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Well, recently, what I started doing was, look, I don't have time for lunch. I don't want to be rude. My schedule is what it is. First, if you're interested in real estate, spend a day with me.
Yeah.
Come shadow me for a day and see what all I do. And I can really give you that feedback on, hey, we got to go. Hey, it's time to move. Hey, so it's difficult because some agents are like, oh yeah, this is great. You should join my team. I
Yeah.
have that I've told, girl, I'm sorry, it's not for you. It's not for
Yeah.
everyone. I
It's
told
not.
and if you're looking to spend more time with your kids or have flexibility, that doesn't come until years later.
That's
I'm
right.
I'm going 5 years into it and I don't have that flexibility yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still when I first started, I had to sit with my children. I sat them down and I said, all right, guys, this is the goal for our family. We want to buy a home. We want our own home. I'm going to have to work. I'm going to disappear for a couple years. I'm not out partying. I'm not out doing, things I shouldn't be doing. I'm
Crazy
working
thing.
towards our future.
Hmm.
And then when I started my team, I sat them down again. All right, guys, I'm going to disappear a little bit again. And they're like,
Right.
where are you going? To work. So
Yeah.
the family effort, you really got to have everyone on that same page. Um,
Absolutely.
or else it's just going to be either harder or it's not going to work.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think we think about that going into it. Like I said, we just see the glamorous side of it, but there are a lot of intricate details that we have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So, okay, 5 years into the business, you've learned some things. You've grown. One of the things that you did last year was or was that this year? You added SM moves. That
Yes.
seems so far away. I mean,
I
but
know.
that was this year. So
Yeah.
you added another element and resource to your business for your clients. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So, um, with my clients, I've always been able to offer, hey, you need a mover? I got this person I can refer. Hey, you need a plumber? I have someone. You need a roofer? I have someone. So we should be that one-stop shop for our clients,
Hmm.
that resource. But then I started getting that one missing piece was the move. And so I thought about it. I've been thinking about it for 3 years. And
Hmm.
I didn't have the manpower. I didn't have the finances. I had too much going on. And so I needed some help. So finally, I met my boyfriend last year. And I told him about my goals, and he is a very ambitious person as well. And
Hmm.
so he quit his job to join the team full time. And I was like, oh, so this is serious. So we're doing this. So I wanted to have that to offer to our clients, but also um, I didn't want to have to keep asking people, hey, can I borrow your truck? Hey, can I borrow your truck? Hey, does anybody have a truck I can borrow? Yes, it's an expense. It was definitely not cheap, but we're able to offer our clients, if you buy or sell with us, you can borrow the truck for free. Um, But on the same side, behind the scenes, we've been able to do so much charity work. And
Mhm.
my love language is acts of kindness, acts of service. And I would, when I first started in the business, I had a little Honda Civic. That's the one I totaled. And then I upgraded to a Honda Accord Sport. I was like, I got the nice
You
one.
doing big things.
Yes. And I passed it on to my daughter. I finally got my dream car, which was my Jeep, which I put
Mhm.
on all my pages. I take my clients on it all the time. Hey, hop on, especially in the summer. Let's take the doors off and get out of here. Uh,
Right.
and so I would stuff that Jeep. I'm like, you can take the top off. So I'm like, oh, good. I take the top off. I posted a video one time where my assistant and I, where we staged this house and we had to go get the furniture. We couldn't get a truck in time. So I was like, well, girl, we're going to have to put it in the Jeep. There was chairs sticking out. I'm pretty sure it was illegal. I'm like, girl, we can't get on the
Right.
freaking this stuff's going to fly off. It wasn't strapped in. I mean, we totally winged it. And I love that she
Oh
was
my God.
right, let's do it. So the truck has absolutely been a blessing. We have, like I was telling you, we're not making money on the truck. We're
Mhm.
with a moving company. It
Right.
is to serve. And
Mhm.
if that's my love language, then I'm going to show that, right? And the
Right.
things that I do. So this year has been, I guess I didn't realize how much we did or how much we can do, how much we can help until this year when we had the truck. So we've been
Right.
able to help an elderly single lady. We were able to help a divorced family, both sides, because
Wow.
I was friends with both of them, so it's a little tough. We were able to help a widow this last month, and we were able to help a battered woman this last month as well.
Mhm.
So every sale that I make, I take a portion of it and I usually give back to our veterans or our battered women.
Yeah.
And now I've been able to see the need and how,
Mhm.
those finances can
How
help.
important it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's
That's
been
awesome. One of the things that we've talked about before is, making people aware that this is a service that you offer, um, without feeling like you're bragging. And I know that's one thing as real estate agents that we really have a hard time with is being able to express that this is what we do without it feeling like, oh, I'm bragging about it. No, it's not bragging. You are making people aware of this additional service. So you said a portion of your proceeds or the monies that you earn with your real estate business goes back to veterans and battered women. Tell me what the connection is there with why you give back to those particular groups.
oof. All right. How much time do we have?
I know.
um, when I was single, prior to being married, I had a boyfriend who
Mhm.
was one of the first serious relationships I was in. And he grabbed me and threw me against the wall. And this is a
Mm,
he was in the army back then. And I just remember him picking me up, slamming me against the wall. And then,
mm,
um, the story goes on from there. But
right.
that impacted me, right? So as a single mom, I've had a passion for our teachers because my teachers have really been my right hand, raising these kids on my own. Like they're the mom in school. So
Right.
they're like, hey, discipline my children. You have that freedom with me.
Oh,
Um,
mhm,
and our veterans, I've always had um, that passion. I didn't have, anyone prior that was in the military. I would just see them and just admire how the discipline, their belief, like they believe
mhm.
in their heart what they work towards, and that to me was so impressive.
Right.
I guess I started noticing the veterans more when I started training for marathons.
Okay.
Uh, Whenever I was going through my divorce back, gosh, I forget, almost 10 years ago, but started training for marathons. And that was my therapy
Yeah.
because I was broke. I was broke for a long time. So started running, training for half marathons. I started working out to lose weight. And then I
Okay.
started accidentally training for a half marathon. And then that's how I got into personal training. I was a personal trainer for 7 years. But I ran some amazing courses, and we ran these half
Mhm.
marathons that were for different causes. And
Mhm.
veterans one is always the one that spoke to me clearly, like, wow, these men really give their life for this cause, for us, for our United States
Right.
of America, so that I can have this freedom. So I think that's kind of where
Right.
that grew. And then now
Right.
my boyfriend's a Marine. So,
Yes.
with even more
Yes.
passion, we do it now. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Talk a little bit about Ernie without getting too personal. I know that you guys have done amazing things since you've been together. He quit his job to join your team. What's that been like to have that level of support um, in your life? And I know him personally, so I know he is a supportive guy. He's done some work on our house, and he's just awesome.
He is. He really is. Whenever I broke up from that toxic relationship, I had to learn to be alone. So
Mm,
I had to focus. I was married to my job, and I had to choose one or the other, right? I didn't want any
right.
distractions. I felt like I had already taken away so much from my kids that I wasn't going to have any other distractions. So I remember when my mother had her mastectomy, she came out of the hospital in the bed, in the rolling bed, and my mother is Hispanic. She's a Pentecostal pastor. So she's like, I want this person there. I want this pastor there. I want your cousins here. I'm like, Mom, this isn't a party. You're in the hospital, you know? So there's all these people there. And she wakes up, she opens her eyes, and I was the one right in front of her. And she calls me. And I was like, oh, I'm the first one she called. So I go over there, and this was my second year in real estate. And she whispers in my ear and says, Mija is sweetheart in Spanish. Mija,
Hmm.
like daughter of mine, something around that nature. She
Yeah.
said, I'm praying for you. I'm praying that God sends you a husband. And I was like, no, houses, mama. I need houses, not a husband. And so she was
The
like,
wrong H word, right?
how much drugs did they give you? How much have you had?
Hmm.
Because I
Hmm.
wasn't ready. And I had to explain that to her. Mom, I'm not ready yet. God can send
Yeah.
me the right man, but I'm going to ruin that in a heartbeat because I'm not ready. So
Right.
finally, 2020, my prayer changed, and I was like, all right, God, I'm ready. I'm ready for a man. I need someone. I realized I need some help. I admitted I needed some help. And Ernest and I have been friends. Our families have been friends for a long time. We were neighbors. And then during COVID, all we had was online. So we were already in touch, but not to that level. Like, I wasn't attracted to him. And I've told him before, I'm like, I'm like, you're just a friend. But
Yeah.
it just kind of grew from there. I needed my fence done. And then he's like, hey, if you need help putting that together, because we had a console I was putting together, and I was like, no, I got it. We're good. We got the instructions. And then it came time to pick the console, and I was like, well, I have a friend that offered his muscles if if we need to call him. So called him over and just started hanging out from there. And he he was so talented, but he didn't know it. He had so
Hmm.
much talent, and I'm like, "What are you doing in that industry? Like, do you know how much you can accomplish in real estate?" And it took me some time, and I know he was probably just as scared as I was when I quit my job. Um,
Right.
but I was like, "You have too much talent." Like, and he didn't. I guess he didn't realize that, or our families are very humble, so we're not going to
Right.
with that. Um,
Right.
and the partnership grew, and I told him my goals, and he was like, you know what, we can do this and this and this. And, with our ideas together, it was exactly what I needed at that time. I was ready.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so he's definitely
That's
my
awesome.
right hand. We laugh together. That's the best, he's not intimidated by me, which is another thing. Cause I feel like in the
So important.
past, yeah, in our industry, and
Hmm.
as women, as strong, independent women that we are, that's hard
Right.
to come by. It's hard to
It
find a
is.
not that doesn't feel like well, you're up here,
Yeah.
and and it's just I saw that difference in him.
That is so
So
important. I
yeah,
think you touch on a really key point in having that support system, that person in your life, that whether it be your significant other, spouse, having that person that you can pour into, but then you know that they support you fully. And I mean, I have a lot of friends who are in that situation where they are excelling and achieving on so many different levels, but the men that they meet are not there yet for whatever reason. And it's intimidating. It's really intimidating. So
yeah.
that's a very key point.
And I think a lot of women, I've always shared this, that they don't know how to be alone. And you take that baggage from the old relationship to the new relationship, and then you wonder, why are we having so many issues? And
Right.
I, I think it's really important also that you realize within, I mean, it should be on no later than that third date when you're like, yeah, this is not for me. This is not going to work, or this is just
Oh,
not what, you know,
you know.
and
Yeah.
girl, I'm not getting any younger. So
Right.
I had to learn.
Right.
I would go on because I was on those dating apps for a little bit, which was very out of my element, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to try it. I learned within 30 minutes of a date of like, you know what, can I just have water?
Yeah.
Because this one's going to be short.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult. And you said 30 minutes. I'm like, you know, within the first 15 minutes,
Right.
whether that person, they're going to give you some hint, some sign that this is a go or halt,
Yeah.
a hard halt, you
And I think
know?
it's in any relationship, in any
Absolutely.
relationship, I've taken, courses on how to identify, because I have some clients that I can show up and be like, hey boo, how's it going? Good morning. Are you ready to do this? And there's
Right.
others I'm like, hey, how are you? Are you ready? You've
Yeah,
got to be that chameleon for your clients, um,
absolutely.
and know which ones you're going to bond with, which ones is going to be maybe not just a transaction, but not that lifelong transaction. That I have some
Right.
clients to this day that are like, hey, when are you guys coming over? And, that called us right away to come and see the house, that they had renewed it or whatnot, remodeled. And so it's the same way in every relationship. It should be, so that how
Right.
much to pour into it. Um,
Exactly.
and how to keep it in that category as well.
Right. I
And
think part of that too is knowing who you are. I think when we deal with different things, like we've talked about, toxic relationships, I think we end up in those kind of relationships because we haven't truly identified who we are and what we will and will not accept.
right, right.
Once you come to that realization, then it's like negative, like that is not going down. I'm not interested in this, and you can move on. So I think part of that is knowing who you are truly, and to get to that point, I think you have to spend some time alone.
Yes,
You
and
have
you
to spend some time alone.
you have to heal. I think that once you've healed, you should be able to say that person, whether it was the toxic ex, is the best thing that ever happened to me, because
Absolutely,
I would not have learned this to be here. Um,
absolutely.
I grew up in a very tough, very strict household, and I could go and be the victim of this, be the victim. Well, yeah, well, my mom hit me with an ironing cord, but it taught me not to do that to my children.
Right,
I don't spank.
right.
I very when my middle child was 18 months old, we had an incident, and I learned that, you know what, I'm not one to spank a child because I will beat their ass. So
Yes,
teach them a
right,
different. So
right,
we have to identify those things, and I think it's difficult for you to do it if you're trying to play so many roles and please so many people.
that's
So,
right.
but I learned the good
Being
from those relationships, and I've learned how to apply it now into my life. So
right, right. That's excellent. And being true to yourself, that I think that's key. So you talked about mom having breast cancer, your sister having breast cancer. um, how does that make you feel? And what preventative and precautions are you taking for yourself, since this seems to be prevalent in your family?
So that was a really tough time in mine and my sister's life. And I say the other sisters, not necessarily, yes, the mother's going through it. Yes, that person that is ill is going through that devastating sickness. But
Mm-hmm.
with us that are healthy, we weren't able to say, oh my God, I have a killing headache. Oh my God, I'm tired. Oh my God, I haven't seen my kids, because she's been in bed or in the hospital for 3 days. We're constantly serving. And what else can I do to take care of that person, to take care of that person? And
Right.
and that's exhausting. It's
Yeah.
really draining. So you have to learn how to still, even once you've attended that cause, it can drag forever.
Oh
But
yeah.
my
Oh
mother
yeah.
was going through chemo, while I was studying to get licensed. So I had to not
Mm,
forget that goal. Like I didn't have an option. My mother's going to get
right.
better, I know that, but I'm still going to have this situation.
Right.
So I had to keep that goal in mind of, mom, okay, I'm going to be here for an hour. What can I do in an hour that I can
Right.
attend you? But then I've got to go study. I've got to go take care of this priority. So
Right.
it's tough for the caregivers. We would cry
Mm-hmm.
amongst ourselves because it was, financially, emotionally, and just physically draining.
Draining. Mm-hmm.
Almost like it's, you think, oh my God, when is it going to end? So I
Right.
went from this abusive, toxic
Yeah.
relationship, because it was verbally abusive and emotionally abusive. And
Mm-hmm.
although women say, no, I'm fine, it wasn't, he didn't hit me. Well,
Still
it's,
abuse.
they don't have to hit you. It's
That's
worse.
right.
They treat you and they belittle you. So you get through that. And now you have this. And it's like, oh my gosh, a lot of women think, like, this is it. I'm never going to get out of this rut, out of this circle.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
you have to have that why of how are you going to do it to where you're going to know that, my 3 kids are dependent on me.
That's
And I
right.
promised them, I said, we're going to get a house. I don't care what mommy has to do. And whatever obstacles come your way, there's going to be other obstacles. There's always going to be something. So
Always.
yeah, so you have to know how to, um, be ready for those, and not be taken, oh my gosh, I didn't expect this. So
Right.
preventative causes, I've been I was a personal trainer for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
my passion is running. I love running. Ever since I totaled my car, I've had to back off a little bit because of my back. So
Mm-hmm.
I haven't
Mm-hmm.
done any half marathons or even marathons, much less, which I miss very much. But I started taking the dogs for a little run. So I take them each for 1 mile and walk,
Mm-hmm.
and that's healthy for my back.
Right.
I do think I'll do another one soon. But I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket, another half marathon at least. But it's making that decision of what you're gonna put in your mouth. So yes, you need to be active. Absolutely, 30 minutes a day. Even 20 minutes is a win. But
Right.
what you put in your mouth is so important.
Yeah.
And I've oh, my light went out. I've been good. I take my juices every morning, my vitamin juices, um,
Mm-hmm.
my actual vitamins. I'm not great at it, but I try to take them, daily. It's little things like, do you need that dessert? Do you know how much sugar you're drinking? Have you sat
Yeah.
down and analyzed how much sugar is in that one Coke that you're drinking every day?
Right.
How much water are you drinking?
Mm-hmm.
It's even more of those little things than
Okay.
oh, I'm going to go on this strict diet. I don't have a diet. I don't have like, oh, I don't do keto, or I do this, I do that. I don't have time for it. I have my
Right.
routine, and sometimes my routine is monthly. For 1 month, I'm going to do this, and then sometimes it's weekly.
Right.
Crazy schedules. But I've always told, when I was a personal trainer, I always told my clients, you have the decision of either stopping at Whataburger or stopping at Smoothie King. So
True.
you are in control of that. It takes you two
Yeah.
extra minutes to get out of your car and pick up some Chipotle, which is healthier than Burger King or Burger Island,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. So
Right.
I don't eat too much red meat, um, but I do enjoy a good burger
Yeah.
and a good steak. So once a month, I'll treat myself. But I am a food snob. I'm a
Okay.
food snob.
Okay.
I'm not not only because of what my family went through, even
Okay.
before then. I'm not that I'm going to go, eat extravagant at every restaurant every time, right? But
Mhm.
uh, if I can avoid fast food, I will 100% do my best to avoid it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And sometimes as a realtor, it's hard
Oh my god.
because you're on a route to go here, and you see the first thing, and you stop and go through the drive-through and get something. It's hard. I mean, it's really hard. But like you said, you have to make a conscious decision on what you're going to eat, what you're going to put in your and plan. And I think that's part of what we don't plan for is our diets and what we're going to eat for that day. We'll plan for everything else, but we don't
Mhm.
take the time to plan our meals and things of that nature. Now, I am horrible with sweets. Like I need my sweets. And I'll eat sweets before I'll do like regular food. It's like, yes, I need that. Give me my dessert first.
Yeah.
Um, let me get full on dessert.
Oh yeah.
So
I love sweets. That is
yeah,
my downfall, but I'm also a sweet snob.
okay,
So, okay, so if you get the piece of key lime pie, I love key lime pie. You don't have to eat all of it. Nobody's paying you to eat all of it. So,
right.
I think the thing is we're in such a hurry that we're like,
Yes.
"Oh my gosh," I enjoy, a Snickers bar. So, I'll go
Yes.
and buy the one that has the 2 pieces in there,
Mhm.
and then I'll eat one and throw the other one away.
Yes. So you
So
Hey,
get
hey, ladies,
that taste.
ladies,
yes.
Yes.
I had 2 pieces of key lime pie last night. I'm ashamed to
Oh,
admit it, but I did.
we're in this together.
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
Yes. Yes. I mean, that's the way I am. I love, love, love sweets. And I don't know that I would give it up. But I think like you said, just knowing what your intake is,
Mhm.
and not just going overboard because Lyndon just said he had two. I mean, I could go with three or four, depends on what it is. And
Yeah.
it just brings me to a thought. One of my agents, this was last year around Christmas time, bought me like this little bag of like chocolate clusters. So it had like nuts and there were mixed nuts that were so good.
Mm.
So I opened it and the agent dropped it on my desk. She went and did something else, and I'm eating them like potato chips as I'm working, doing all this thing. And she came back, and it was probably less than an hour when she came back, and we started talking. And I didn't even realize that I had already gone through that whole bag of clusters, and and the chocolate was really rich.
Yeah.
So when she came back in, I was like, "Oh my God, I just ate all of this." So it's like just knowing and planning for that is everything. Knowing
Yes.
that, okay, what I should have done was maybe take two pieces out, wrap the bag up and put it away instead of leaving it open.
Yes.
And I'm
Yeah.
just working and eating, working and eating. And I was happy. I was content.
I bet you were.
Yes, I was making life changes here.
Yeah.
I
And you
was
know what
saving
I
the
do?
world eating that chocolate.
I I have a really busy schedule. So one thing that I train myself on is to make a protein shake in the mornings.
Hmm.
And I was even my light just went off. I don't know if this one's working. Um, I was getting to the point where I was paying my daughter to make me a smoothie in the morning. And two
Nice.
really important things that I add in there is kale. A
Hmm.
doctor told me because I've had several concussions, like stitches, 19 stitches in my head. I had 4 staples in my head. So he said,
Wow.
you've got to drink smoothies, but make sure you put kale in there. You need greens because those greens are brain food. And I was like, oh, okay.
Mm.
And reading, you have to read. So I was paying my daughter and fiber. He said,
Okay.
and I knew that as a trainer. Fiber makes you feel full, so it'll
Yeah.
stop you from overeating. And
Okay.
so my mom would get on to me, you need to eat real food. You need to, and I was like, Mom, what's worse? Not eating in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon or having a smoothie. So before that, I did intermittent fasting. When I was a
Okay.
trainer, I did intermittent fasting all the time. I mean, I lived by it. That is intermittent fasting is you fast until maybe noon
Mm-hmm.
and your body learns to, I won't get into it too much, but you can look into it. And then you eat until I would stop eating at 7.
Okay.
Well, it's not so easy for realtors because of our schedules. So
Mm-hmm.
what I was doing is I would forget. And when I get stressed out, I lose my appetite when I'm stressed.
Okay.
When I'm depressed, it's the opposite. When I'm depressed, I will eat the cake for the family. I am there for you. And so I wouldn't eat till like 2 o'clock, and then I would still cut it off at 6 or 7. I'd be like, no, no, no,
Okay.
I can't eat that late. And so that mental, it was just mentally instilled in me that, hey, you can't eat after 7.
Yeah.
So I ended up in the hospital and found out that I have hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. And
Mm.
a lot of my friends know this. And I have to tell even, Ernest, when we started dating, I was like, hey, I have this thing. It's called hypoglycemia. I kind of fell on the concrete, got 2 black eyes and my shoulder, scraped my shoulder real bad, my knees, because I blacked out. So
Mm.
you black out. And
Really?
it's not something that you can control once it gets to that point.
Right.
It sucks because it can be because you were dehydrated the day before just from dehydration, and then you bring that onto this day, and then you're stressed and you're working and you didn't eat enough, and then boom. So I've
Wow.
really learned to take care of myself in that aspect because it's happened a
Yeah.
few times where I've passed out. And
Wow.
yeah, it happened. And then it
That's
happened on
dangerous.
It is awful. It's awful. So, my close friends know that, hey, I have to disclose this just in case I pass out, which I haven't had
Right.
an incident in a long time because I've learned to control it. Um,
Right.
but it was, me neglecting my body and neglecting my health and the lack of eating.
Yeah.
So who would have thought? But
Yeah.
but that's when I started doing the protein shakes, and sometimes I'll order that big old protein shake from Smoothie King
Uh-huh.
or the juice bar, whatever I'm close to, and I'll just drink that throughout my morning, and then I'll have a light lunch, and then I can do my dinner. So
Right.
yeah, so that's a little every little bit helps. Everyone has their
Yeah.
method, but you got to find what works for you. You have to,
Absolutely.
what is it that's going to work for you and your schedule.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And
So
planning and making the time for it. That's good. So we've talked about a lot of things, Sally. Let's talk about how you have been able to balance everything. Or is that something that you're still trying to figure out? Balancing the kids, um, your love life, your real estate business, and then any of the other things that you have going on, your friends. How have you been able to maintain balance?
So I think this goes back to when I started in real estate. And well, it goes back to when I first got divorced. And I think this happens to a lot of not broken families. I don't like to call them broken families, but a lot of blended families that are healing from, a divorce or just separation. Um, I was in the beginning catering to my children because you feel guilty, because you feel like, man, I did this, man, I
Yeah.
screwed up, and now they don't have their dad here. I'm,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, hey, don't worry about it. I got it. Did you guys eat? Okay, good. I got your laundry. I was sleeping 4 hours a night, working 60, 70 hours a week. And this was when I was a trainer
Mm-hmm.
and still trying to have my kids. I was trying to fill that void in.
Overcompensating.
Oh my God. You have no idea.
Mhm.
So one day I
Mhm.
was training a friend of mine and she was like, yeah, my father passed away a couple of years ago. And she's an adult. She was in her late 30s. And she's like, what makes me mad is that he protected me so much. And I was like, what does that even mean? She goes, I didn't know how to write a check as an adult because I would just call
Mm.
my daddy. Daddy, come fix this for me. Daddy, will you come do this for me? And although you
Wow.
love to do that, she's like, I I didn't know how to do laundry properly, much less be a mother, be the good wife. And so it becomes a problem in the relationship with your children and yourself that you have to
Right.
learn how to balance. So
Yes.
I've always been one to teach my kids real life scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
So you did bad at school. Okay, so if you don't want to finish school and get your diploma, here's what's going to happen. So go in the backyard and pick up this, and that. And I would make them do physical labor because I'm like, if
Yeah.
you don't have a diploma, physical labor is the first thing you're going to be doing. So I had to get
Right.
a taste of that. And at the same time, hey, we're building this together, guys. Yes, I'm the realtor, but I need you to put the stamps on here. I need you to put the
Yeah.
labels on here. I need you to go pick
Yeah.
up from, once my daughter started driving, she would go get the groceries because I was like, guys, these
Yeah.
are the roles. And so
Yeah.
I had to include my kids and get over oh, I did this, and all you're doing is hurting them. So
Right.
I had to be like, hey guys, I need y'all's help. So
Right.
I would get home and I'd be like, all right, let's do this laundry. You guys didn't want to do it. And then I'd be like, man, we could be at the movies right now. That sucks. I was going to take you out of the movies. Now we got to do laundry.
Yeah.
So little by little, they started getting it like, oh, if we help mom,
Well, if I help,
yeah,
yes.
so we could free up some
Yeah.
time and go have some fun. So
Yeah.
I definitely have them help a lot. And now, of course, with, Ernest being as great as he is, I have to remind myself he's younger than I am. So I had to get me a younger man because the older ones couldn't keep up. So he's been able to keep up very
A
well.
little bit have a little bit of cougar in you.
Yeah. So we were doing the pergola in the backyard. He was like, I can do it. I can do it. And I'm like, I know you can, but I'm going to hire someone just because we have so much on our plates. I've had to help him learn that you can't do everything, although you
Yeah.
can. You don't
Yeah.
need to. Mowing the
Right.
yard. He's like, I want to mow the yard. And I'm like, okay. I pay the guys to mow the yard $30 for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
is that what you're worth? Is that what you're worth an hour? And
Mm-hmm.
I had to help him see that, okay, in the beginning, I was broke. And I say that,
I love how you say broke.
oh yeah, it was tough. It was, I cried myself to sleep many nights, not knowing how I was going to pay the rent, not
Yeah.
knowing how I had so much credit card debt. And now, yes, you have to work with your time in the beginning as when you start any business, right? You're going to pay with your
Mm-hmm.
time. But
Yep.
little by little, you have to learn that, just because I make this much doesn't mean give it all, give it to me. You can start, hey, now we can hire someone to clean the house. Now we can
Absolutely.
hire someone to free up my time because
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather spend that time with my kids, the little bit of extra time that I do have, or heck, I'd rather
Right.
sleep.
Yes. Yes.
So
Get some sleep.
yeah, I've had to learn that it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to have help and
Right.
to designate those things. Lori taught me that. Lori Arnold.
Yes.
Um, she did we went to an event one day and she said, you can't do everything. You're not good at everything. You can't be
That's
a
right.
chef. You can't be the cleaning crew. You can't be the mom you want to be. And the top producing agent, you've got to let one of those things go. And you
That's
have to
right.
be okay with it. And
That's
so
right.
I've made it very clear throughout all of my social media streams that I don't cook. I don't like
Yeah.
it. I don't care for it. I'll eat if you cook.
Right.
You
Right.
up, but it just doesn't do anything for me. There's a mess
Right.
afterwards. You spend 45 minutes to an hour preparing and cooking everything, and then everybody eats, takes off, and you're left with all this mess. I'm like, we do it every once a week or something, but I'm not that mom that comes home and is like, hey guys, let's sit at the table and let's eat.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
my kids, I'll take them to a restaurant and sit there and eat because it's different for everyone. For
Yeah.
me,
Absolutely.
we have a rule of no phones at the table.
Okay.
So I actually like taking them out to a restaurant. And we don't go all the time, but I like taking them out because they have my undivided attention. We're not,
Yeah.
if I'm at home and we're eating and stuff, I'm like, oh, let me clean this. Let me put this away. Let me get this phone call. Let me,
Right.
so many
Right.
different things. But if you take them and kind of just isolate yourselves, and there's some cheap ways to do it too. You can go to Chipotle,
Yeah.
go to Chick-fil-A, and just sit there and actually have that conversation with your kids. So
Right.
yeah, I think
Right.
balance is a lot about what's important to you and
Absolutely.
what is just like, it just doesn't, it's not that important. And I think another thing that I do that I've shared with my friends that they're like, oh my God, that's pretty smart. Um, I have I have a lot of pair of jeans, a lot of pairs of pants, slacks, whatever. But I
Uh-huh.
wear, and this is a secret I haven't made public yet. I probably wear the same jeans every week. So
Okay.
I have my Monday jeans, my Tuesday jeans, my Wednesday. The time that I switch it up is for closings. That
Okay.
I'll spice it up. But I don't have I don't have a huge closet with clothes in it. That's never been me, I guess. But it's also
Mm-hmm.
almost like I have a uniform.
Yeah.
And
So much
if,
easier.
oh my gosh, I don't have to think about it. You know,
Yes.
if I have too much, it's too many options. I don't do well with too many options.
Right.
Yeah. So that's also been a big time saver for me.
Okay. And helping to keep that balance and harmony within your life.
Yes.
So tell me, what's next for you? What do you have going on next? What goals and things are you looking at? We're at the end of the year.
Yes.
2020 is upon us, or 2022 is upon us.
Yes. We have 9 days till Christmas.
Gosh.
Yeah. So in real estate, a lot of people think that our lives are glamorous and we make all this money. And oh my gosh, how much did you get commission? 3%? Little do they know that we have to pay our own taxes. We pay for our
Right.
own pain. We pay for our own doctor bills. We don't get
Yes.
health insurance. We don't get pensions. We don't get
Yep.
paid time off. We don't,
That's
I
right.
mean, the list goes on. And I was talking to my, one thing I did do from the very beginning was have a CPA. Okay.
That's
Because
good advice.
yeah, I am not, I was not in a position. So you have to ask yourself, okay, am I going to pay the $500 for the CPA, or am I going to screw up on my taxes and then them come back for me for $5,000? So
Exactly. Yeah.
so I was like, you know what? From the beginning, I did that. And I also, from the beginning, had help, which is my first help was my transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
And that, took some, yes, it is money that you're putting into your future so that
Mm-hmm.
it takes time for you to work on what you can work on. Um,
Right.
so with that being said, I didn't have a right to retirement plan. I didn't have all this money in savings. And I was
Right.
like, I got really sick during COVID. Um, and I had been thinking, what am I going to do? So the house that I have now, that I bought 3 years ago in April, I've been remodeling it. I bought this house. It had a purple hallway, a yellow, neon yellow room. It had a red room, a blue room. I mean, the house, I knew it needed to be gutted whenever I first got it, but I wanted a 4 bedroom and a big backyard.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? This could be a good project. I was single. So I was like, oh, I'll stay busy.
Yeah.
So I've been working on this house for 2.5 years. And of course, now that Ernest came into my life, oh my gosh, he's helped me. Things have moved so much faster, because before it was just
Yes.
me, and I was broke, and I was, trying getting help here and there, but I didn't have the money, so I'd have to wait or whatnot. Um,
Right.
so we're turning this house into an Airbnb.
Yes.
So I'm
So
so excited.
excited for you.
Oh my gosh, we've been working so hard into, redoing the floors and redoing so many other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited, so that because I did think about selling it with the market being so great. I was
Yeah.
like, I can easily make anywhere from 75,000 to $100,000 if I sell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I talked to two of my lender friends, and one
Okay.
of them was like, yeah, Sally, you can sell it. He said, what are you gonna do with that money though? And I was like, well, I can pay off my debt. He goes, so you can get more in debt? And I was like, oh. He goes, if something happens to you, do your kids have anything? And I was like, well, I mean, the mortgage is paid for 6 months. You have those 6 months security. The cars are paid
Right.
for, the same thing. All of the bills are paid for 6 months. So
Right.
at least they have that. And then he was like, and then what? Like, is that what you're leaving your kids? You're leaving them 6 months to figure life
6
out?
months.
And I was like,
Yeah,
oh, well, that's an excellent point. So
yeah,
that's where I decided I had to do some numbers and decide, okay, do I lease it out or do I go the Airbnb route? And I like the Airbnb route because Ernest and I have 6 kids together and 4
yes.
dogs. So
It's a
we're
big
very, very
family.
busy. And
Uh-huh.
oh my God. So we're building a house together. I haven't told too many people, but we're building a house together. Um, and I was telling him, with that crazy schedule, I'm gonna have something to where we can be like, kids, we're not staying here tonight. We're gonna stay at the Airbnb.
Right,
So we
right,
have somewhere to chill, but also so my kids can have something, in their future that
right.
that
You're
they can
leaving
look
a
back on.
legacy.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. So that's the big project for 2022, is your Airbnb. Of course, you have your real estate business. You have your moving company that's as additional layer of your real estate business. What else? Do you have anything? As if that's not enough.
as if, right? I've been I've been lucky enough to have Ernest stop me from doing crazy other things. I'm like, hey, we can do this now. And he was like, can we just breathe a little bit? Can we finish this project? And so this year, 2021, I actually did back off just a little bit off real estate. I took a step back and just had to recoup. I was losing my mojo, and
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
should be
That
able to
happens.
tell. Yeah, you
It
got to be able to
happens.
tell when that's happening and when you have to make some changes. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, started spending more time with my kids. We didn't travel. I haven't traveled with my kids in a couple of years. I took my daughter to Austin for her 15th birthday, and I've done some business trips, but
Okay.
I was like, okay, this year I want to dedicate some time to the kids. So for my daughter, she turns 18 in February, and we're
Nice.
taking her to Disneyland.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be just her and her best friend because I
Okay.
want to dedicate that time to her,
Yeah.
before she goes out in the real world and becomes an adult, like she says.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we're going to do another trip with just my kids and then another trip with
Mm-hmm.
his kids. So
Okay.
I think that's important with blended families because we lose sight of each child as an individual. And then with
Right.
kids, can you imagine? So
Yeah. Anthony and I have 5 between us, so I'm right there with you.
yeah. Yeah. I think it's important. I had a friend tell me, well, what are you teaching them? You're teaching them to be separate if you're never going to have a vacation with them together. And I was like, well, that's your point of view, and I have mine. But I think it's important. I didn't grow up with a lot of self-esteem. I had a very low self-esteem. I had
Mhm.
body image issues, and it didn't matter what a man told me, we still had those body image issues. And I didn't grow up with oh, you're beautiful. And I grew up with, that's too tight, that's too short, that's too,
Yeah.
and I had to
Yeah.
learn to change that. And I had to
Mhm.
learn to teach that to my children individually. And I had a good leader that taught me, you have to spend that individual time with each one. So
Absolutely.
I think it's important. And I've told Ernest, I think there's 5 trips that are necessary in the year, whether it's to Oklahoma or it's, just by yourself, get a hotel in downtown Dallas. I think
Yeah.
a couples trip is definitely important. Um,
Right.
we have mandatory date night every
Mhm.
other, no more than 2 weeks. We try to do weekly, but if we can't, every other week. So, and we have mandatory couples trip, just us two. We got to go get away.
Right.
Another one should
Right.
be girls trip, guys trip. So, and maybe it's not even out of town. Maybe it's just, hey, let's go
Right.
to the lake today, but just you and your
Right.
girls and your guys. I think that's really important.
That is
Another
important.
another one is a business trip with your
Mhm.
team, your whether, and I say trip. Last year we went to Broken Bow,
Yeah.
and that was really awesome. Um, this year maybe something different, even if it's not a trip. But get your lender involved, get your title company in there and say, hey, let's get something together. Let's all pitch in and make this work, you know?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
another two should be the family ones, one with all the kids and then one with each
Mhm.
set individually. So
Absolutely. So travel is in your future.
yeah,
I love that. I love how you are trying to deal with each of your kiddos and each of the families individual, because that sometimes it's easy to lump them all in one thing, in one group. And yeah, we're all doing this, and you don't really get to know the core of the individual child. So I commend you on that. Unfortunately, there is no rules on blended families. There's no rules on how to raise kids. We are figuring it out every single day. So I commend you for doing what works best for you. I've really, really enjoyed chatting with you today. I'd love to have you back on because one thing that we didn't touch on, but I think that you do an amazing job with is your partnerships, your strategic partners, and how you utilize them and include them in your business. So we'll have you back on to go in detail about how you've been able to garner those relationships, and also how that's helped your business as well. So we'll schedule some time so that
yes.
we can go deeper into that. But I do want to give you an opportunity to if you have one piece of advice to leave with your audience on today, what would that be?
Oh, wow. Um, I think the most important thing in my career was to learn to love myself.
Ooh,
And that's a daily struggle. Even
ooh,
today, I got to get up and
yes,
look in the mirror and be like, you got this, Sal. You're going to do
yes,
awesome. Go get that money, girl. And
yes,
we're not raised that way. But it's so important to love yourself and pump yourself up and look in
yes,
the mirror and be like, oh, girl, you look good today. Okay.
yes,
You know,
yes.
and
Uh-huh.
take that compliment when somebody tells you, wow, you look good today. Take it and be like, oh, well, thank you.
Thank
I do.
you. Hmm.
So I had to learn to do that and let myself be okay with it. And that really, really helped me in every aspect of my life.
Love yourself. I love that. I love that. Okay, we have a few more minutes before we have to wrap this up. I do want to give you the opportunity to share your contact information with your audience. If anybody wants to reach out to you for anything, you have a moving company, you're a real estate agent, a mentor, whether you know it or not, you have a lot of insight. So
Thank you.
share your contact info.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really big on Instagram. I put the link on the scroll here. Sally _ Morellis _ realtor. And our SM moves is SM _ moves. If you know anyone that needs help, it's not only if you buy and sell with us. I've had to, clarify that. We had someone that we had to move a piano for, and it's my passion is helping families and this charity work that we do with full-heartedly. But if you know anyone that wants to donate so we can help these families, we're more than happy to. We have a separate account for that we don't touch, and that's specifically for, like this battered family, a woman and child that
That
we
would
had
be
to help
right.
move. I mean, just I was physically there, boxing up. Let's go. We got to do it quick.
Yeah.
So many things that people just don't know that are going on in our
Hmm.
community.
Yeah.
Um, but our moving company, it's been a blessing. I'm so happy to say so that our estate sales, I've also learned a lot with those. So
Mhm.
we're also on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel, and we're on LinkedIn. So yeah, look us up. We'd be happy to connect.
All
And
right, Sally, thank you so much. Thank you
yeah,
so much for being here.
great.
I always enjoy our conversations. I love everything that you're doing. I wish you all the best in everything that you're doing. And then we will have to catch up
Yes,
soon.
thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been Chit Chat with Char, where our mission is to connect, collaborate, and cultivate. We are serious about having an impact in our community. We are serious about making those connections and having meaningful relationships with people who are in our community like Sally, who are doing things that we may not even have visibility to. So this is my contribution to our community. And I thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.